Hi, everybody. It's Grace. I know it's been a while since I've been on. Sorry about that. I've been dealing with health issues. The reason I got on here was because I've just, with everything that was in my head about the Watts case, um, it seems like it kind of is true in a sense. I always thought that for some reason that family was a target, because why else would NK get a job there where he works and everything else? And there's so many unanswered questions about her. It's unreal. Like the CCTV video of Nate's camera shows, and it's obvious. It's so obvious that it's sickening. Like, I don't even want to watch it anymore. But you don't see Chris walk out in the morning, but you do see somebody walking out, and it's not Chris, because I know it looks like they're in the same clothes, and I think that was part of the plan, but I'm telling you, that wasn't Chris Watts walking out of there. And not only that, but he had his sleeves up, everything else, like, it was visible when you saw him. And it honestly looks like a woman walking out of there in the morning. And her phone pinged, and when she was interviewed, nothing like that was said. The phone ping wasn't talked about. When they asked when they met, she said in June. But what if it was June of 2017, not 2018? Like, what if they were carrying on that affair for over a year? Like, nobody really knows. And, like, Chris told, who was it? Cheryl Cadell, or the one who wrote the book on him, The Letters from Christopher. And he said that every night when he would spend the night at NK's house, she would give him this cleansing drink. And he would fall asleep mid-sentence, wake up a couple hours later, and just keep going as if he never fell asleep. And I'm starting to wonder what was in those drinks, because it makes no sense that that he would change his mind about his family so quick in 6 weeks. It makes no sense at all. It wouldn't, I mean, it doesn't even make sense if they were dating longer, but I think this was definitely planned. I really don't know, honestly, what Chris's involvement was. I mean, because he tells truth in his lies, like in his interviews when he's pleading for his family to come back. Like, he's standing there saying, "Oh yeah, well there's no cameras in the back, so if someone took her out the back, Well, he just told us how they got out, or how they were taken out, through the back. meaning the basement window. And so he tells us that. But he's also telling us that he has no idea where his family is, for real. Like, I think that when the plan fell apart, when they couldn't get into Shanann's phone because she changed her code. Now, I do know that Shanann's mother was very worried. She did not want Shanann coming back to Colorado with Chris. But she had to for some reason or another. And every time I look at that surveillance tape of her walking up the front porch, and you can hear her putting in the code, but you see her and she's staring at her phone, and she's looking at the baby monitor. Something is going on because she's like looking at that phone like it's the most important thing in the world. And I do think that the kids were possibly killed before Shanann got home, or it was happening during the time when she was coming home. And it's just, there's so many things. And not only that, NK's vehicle was spotted that morning by Betty, Chris Watts' neighbor, on the other side of him. And she tells the cops, yeah, I mean, I thought you were here for that truck because, I've never seen it before. So, not only that, but she got rid of the truck 2 days after the murders. And that's not suspicious. Like, there's so many things. Like, there's a record of her clocking out of work August 13th, that Monday. But there's no record of her clocking in. But her phone pings right around his house in the morning. And who is she calling? But Jim. Because when you look at the phone records, she is calling Chris, and then after Chris, she's calling Jim, and it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this is basically how it is with the phone records, like, almost the entire relationship. Like, she's talking to Chris and then talking to Jim. I mean, this was obviously planned for a long time. Like I said, I don't know the extent of Chris's involvement. I really don't know if he knew what was happening around him, because I really think he was being drugged. I mean, he belongs in jail, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I don't see him. See, I used to watch Audrey Breaks when she was on YouTube, and she's a psychic, and I mean, I'm sure most of you have heard about her or seen her videos, but she was, very, what's the word I'm looking for? She was basically almost 100% sure that there were 4 people in that house, which makes sense because, I mean, there was a whole bunch of movement going on downstairs. But Audrey says that it was NK, Chris, Jim, and then another female that is supposedly Hispanic. And and stop it. Sorry about that. But I just think, and not only that, but I mean, if you really stop to think about it, Amber Frey, Scott Peterson case, Amber Frey, she came right out. She came right to the cops. I mean, she announced it to the world, basically, that she had no idea that he was married. Or no, she did find out that he was married, but she had no idea that like all this stuff was going on. And I mean, she even taped their conversations, everything for the cops. She was cooperative. She told them everything, literally. And you have NK looking up Amber Frey book deals. Like, dude, she's already looking up book deals. I don't know how many clues she has to spread throughout wherever she is, but I'm telling you, she had something to do with it. Amber Frey didn't want to change her name. I mean, she didn't want to, get out. And then you got literally NK in the interview room saying, oh, well, I'm going to have to change my name. I'm going to have to move. I'm going to have to do this. Okay, why are you doing all that if you're innocent? Why do you want to move states if you're innocent? Why do you want to change your name if you're innocent? I don't get it. And me personally, I think someone's protecting her. And if they're not personally protecting her, there's a huge cover-up going on somewhere in this case. And it's ridiculous because everybody is arguing back and forth, and everybody, the internet sleuths, they want to help solve it and everything. Like, well, the people that believe that there were accomplices, which it makes sense with all the activity that was in the basement. Like, literally, all that stuff's documented anymore. I mean, I have the Ring thing, and literally, I can't go into a room without it dinging or going off. So, and it's very easily, you can easily like disconnect it, like stop it, and everything like that. I mean, the other person can speak to you through it and all that stuff. My husband constantly is scaring me when he does that. But it records everything. And I mean everything. So what I'm wondering is, what do the police actually have for evidence that was in that house? Because I'm sorry. You go to, for one, the dogs didn't hit on the house except for the basement. And that was like a trauma dog or something like that. And we know that there was a fight in the basement with whoever. But there was a fight in the basement. So I'm guessing she gets home after a long flight. She's in pain. I mean, she don't feel good. She's pregnant. She probably wants to just go home and crawl into bed. And literally, she's walking into her death. And it was put out there in the world to see her walking into her own death. Walking up to her door. And it's just, it's sickening because it's like you want to stop it. It's like watching a head-on collision happen. You know it's going to happen, but you can't stop it. All you can do is literally either watch or close your eyes. But I do not think Chris acted alone. I don't even know what role he played in it because from what I gathered from Audrey, he was basically crouched in a corner like a little child while this was going on, while his family was being murdered. He was supposedly crouched down in the corner of the master bedroom. And now, mind you, he shut everything off. So from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., you ain't seeing no activity. None. Because he was messing with the router that night before. And I know I've said this before, but I just think it's ironic that they can recount, Chris and NK can recount their entire relationship down to minutes, but they can't recount the 111-minute phone call they had the night of the murder. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, I would say that's a huge red flag. I mean, for someone who remembers everything except for that call. And I think that she was driving to Chris's house because I think that she was either her or somebody higher than her set this all in motion. Because I really don't think that Chris really wanted to kill his family. I mean, was he a pig? Yeah, he cheated. And I know he had something to do with those murders. I just don't know what. But I do believe what Audrey said. And another thing is she mentions that because the one toilet that didn't have water in it when the cops were looking around searching, Audrey said that there's something in the pipes and that the pipes need to be looked at. Have the pipes been looked at? No, because there was only literally, they were in there for 2 hours collecting evidence, even though the murder never took place there. And not only that, but the dogs did hit outside. It was near their house. And even the one cop said, oh, well, maybe you should take a look at that. Check that out. But it was never checked out. So I personally think that, like, after the whole phone thing failed, I think that the whole plan changed. And I think NK and whoever else was with her went into panic mode and was just like, okay, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, da 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 da. And Chris was very, very well prepared. Like, it was like, it kind of was like he was under a spell in a sense, because the way he talked, it was rehearsed. You can tell it was rehearsed. And another thing, he had his phone, his cell phone, nor his normal cell phone. He had his work cell phone. But he also had a burner phone. And I'm sure NK did too. Because I doubt that they were sending all these texts through their actual phones. And not only that, but I don't know. I feel like he definitely got screwed over, because I guess NK was in the courtroom when he was arraigned or charged or something. Basically, as like an intimidation tactic. Like, yeah, say something, I dare ya, type thing. But seriously, if he was really gonna commit this shit, like himself, I mean, I know he acts stupid, but I don't think he is fucking stupid. I mean, why would you just leave the sheet out there where you covered your wife? Why would you leave, you know, trash bags all along? Stuff like that. It's just leaving breadcrumbs. And most of all, why would you bury your family in your workplace? That is like the worst possible thing. And everybody thinks that they were taking out and they were in his truck. I'm sorry, but common sense, I would be thinking, you know what? What if for some reason I get pulled over and I got 2 kids in my back seat that aren't in car seats and a dead wife on the floorboard? I don't think that's going to go well. And not only that, but it was going into the daylight before he left. I think that his whole thing was a distraction. Like, oh, the left hand don't know what the right hand's doing type thing. Like, ooh, look at me. Don't look over here. Look at me. I think that's basically what that was. Because, I mean, he really did not do anything except take a couple things out of the house, put it in his truck. But it does show, the one thing it does show is that damn shadow that looks like, a little girl running to him and him picking her up and putting her in the truck. But what I don't get is, because there were at least 3 cars involved. There was Chris's truck, there was NK's truck, and then there was Jim's car, the red car that everybody has seen leaving, that everybody said was Betty, but Betty, made it very clear, look, for one, I don't got a red car. For two, I didn't go straight, I took a left. So, it couldn't have been her. And honestly, this case is just, it's very stressful, and that's why I don't get on here like that and talk about it, because it frustrates me, because this this case isn't over. There were more people involved, and until those people are brought to justice, this case is going to be unsolved forever. And Chris is scared to death. Like, he never wants to go back to Colorado, like, shit like that. I guess he asked to be moved because he was getting death threats and everything like that in the Colorado jail. So, that's why he's in Wisconsin. But, yeah, he's made it clear that he never wants to come back for anything. And honestly, I don't think he's ever going to tell the full truth of what happened, because honestly, I don't think he knows. I mean, he didn't even know where they were buried, for crying out loud. Literally, like, he's still thinking that they're alive somewhere, and he probably got a text when he was because he was texting somebody when he was in the interview room, and when the detectives left, he was on his phone. So he was probably talking to NK, and NK probably told him where they were buried, basically. Because literally, it took him a couple minutes to tell them where they were. Because it took him a couple minutes to figure out where Shanann was buried. And it was a fresh grave. Like, it had rained on Tuesday, and she was found Wednesday night, but the dirt was freshly raked over. So that just tells me that she had to have been buried on Wednesday. And that would, I don't know if that would change time of death. I don't know if they were killed on Monday, or if they were put somewhere first and then killed. I can't even imagine what that woman and those two little girls felt like. They had to have been so scared. And there's absolutely nothing that nobody could do. I mean, there was literally danger inside when she arrived home, and she didn't know about it. Her friend Nicole didn't know about it when she dropped her off. I mean, she watched her walk inside, and she thought that she was fine. So it's tough. It's tough to watch something like that and not be able to do anything about it. Stop it! Stop it. But no, I do think. Now, I don't know if Shanann and the girls were given something to knock them out or anything like that, but I do know that there was a struggle downstairs, because there is a spot on the floor. I don't know what it was. Like, I don't think it wasn't blood, because the dogs didn't hit on it. Bella, stop it. It wasn't blood, but it was something. I don't know what it was. And honestly, what was really, really, I mean, everything was hard to hear, but this specifically, when Chris said in one of his, he was talking to the detectives when they went to Wisconsin to interview him again. What was I about to say? I'm sorry. Sometimes my memory sucks. He tells them that she partially gave birth. Like, when this happened, she partially gave birth. Like, that. That was rough to hear. I mean, it all was. I mean, all the way. I mean, from the way Shanann was just thrown into that grave, the shallow grave that was literally, you could wipe away the dirt with your hand, and she was right there. Like, they didn't even. And another thing, like, if she'd been out there for days, the wild animals would have got to her. And they didn't, because she wasn't buried on Monday. I think the grave was dug on Saturday. I don't think that Chris went to NK's after their day at the Lazy Dog. And it makes no sense that NK said that they had to leave the one Lazy Dog to go to the other one because the menu was better. I'm sorry, but if I don't want to go to the McDonald's on Cedar Street and I want to go to the one on North Main, there's not going to be a difference. The menu's still going to be the same. Like, that's common fucking sense. I don't know why people didn't pick up on that. Maybe they did and they just didn't care. But, anyways, I think that they got done eating and they went out there and it was dug because there were 3 holes. There was the big one and then there were 2 little ones. The 2 little ones, though, weren't dug really good. I do believe that that's why the girls were put in the tanks. And just them describing how the girls were when they brought them out of the tanks is just, it's heartbreaking. Because they didn't deserve that. Shanann didn't deserve to die. She might have been the dominant one in the relationship. That doesn't make her a bitch or a bad person. My husband's the dominant one in our marriage. I mean, doesn't mean he wants to kill me. It's just, she had OCD. That's something you can't help. So, I mean, she acknowledged all of this because she wrote to her friends, maybe I am too hard on him. Maybe I need to change some things, stuff like that. She was doing everything to try to save her marriage because that's how much she loved Chris. And I watched her videos. And either Chris is in the videos or she's talking about Chris. And it's just, the love she had for him was very much sincere. And Chris, I don't know what his deal was. I really don't. I mean, the whole, oh, she walked in, just took my breath away. I don't buy that. I mean, Honestly, if she was really into this witchcraft stuff, like Chris says, or these dark things that Chris cannot and will not ever talk about because they were so terrible, she's obviously into some dark shit. So, wouldn't it be plausible that she was putting something in those drinks every night? Wouldn't it be plausible for her to be a part of this? Wouldn't it be? Why didn't the cops give her a lie detector test? Because I'm telling you right now, she wouldn't have passed. Nope, she wouldn't have passed. I'm telling you that right now because just both of their language are the same. They say like all the time. Like they'll say like, oh well, this happened and like this, and then like they're both talking the same way. I mean, come on, it can't be a coincidence. Oh, and if you look at the CCTV footage of Nate's, actually slow it down, zoom in, and you will see that the person walking out of that garage is in fact NK. Because you see the ponytail, the long hair, and I'm sorry, Chris ain't got long hair. Even the body frame is different. Because she's walking out, and I'm sorry, it's not like, I mean, you're just looking at it as a whole, but Chris ain't got no, how can I say this? He ain't got no ass. NK happens to have a big booty. So, I'm sorry, but when she's walking out, you see that. Chris has a flat ass. Okay, it's common sense, people. Like, she was involved and she's getting away with it. And I know this video will either be deleted or I'll get kicked out for a few days or whatever. I mean, I don't care. I don't get on here like that. But honestly, I truly believe that NK got away with murder. And I do think it was her that killed the kids. Because she could only. She distanced herself so much, it was unreal. It was almost like she was never in a relationship with Chris. That's how much she was distancing herself. Because she never named them except for Bella once. Oh, and Shanann, and that was only because the detective said, "Can you say her name? Or do you know her name?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's Shanann." But it's always when she's talking about Shanann or the kids, it's her or them or, she, or the names aren't mentioned. And in Chris's interview, when he's talking to his dad, you can hear him say, "Why did she have to hurt my kids?" He's not talking about Shanann. Because if he was talking about Shanann, he would say, "Why did she have to hurt our kids?" No, he said my kids. And not only that, but he also said she wasn't supposed to be there. He's not talking about Shanann with that one either. Because Shanann lived there. She was supposed to be there that night. So I don't know how much more proof that they need. I really don't. I mean, you have a lot of internet sleuths giving a lot of good information. and sending it to the DA and everything like that. And it's like they're not doing anything about it. NK basically got away with murder. And whoever else was involved, which I'm pretty sure her one friend Jim was, because he had a red car. And there was a red car almost identical to the one that he had because there was pictures of his car. And pretty much identical to the one that took off that morning. And these people are getting away with it. There's only one person sitting in jail right now, and I do think that he was, after the plan failed, he was set up big time because they did not want to get caught. So they put it all on him. I think they buried the bodies, not him, because he didn't even know where they were. He didn't even know if they were alive or dead. And that's what people don't get. I mean, when really was the time of death for the girls and Shanann? Like, why? I'm telling you, it makes sense that she was buried on Wednesday. Because, like I said, it rained Tuesday. So it would have been harder. They had to have done it on Wednesday. I don't think Chris was involved in that part. I don't even think he was involved in the murdering part. But he was right there, smack dab in the middle. And I think that he was scared of NK. I think that she basically gave him an ultimatum. And I don't think he really wanted to do it. I think that's why NK showed up that night. Because she wanted to make sure that it was done. Or it was just part of their plan and she was supposed to show up anyway. I don't know. But they had this plan for a while, and I think it was a lot longer than 6 weeks. I'm sorry. I also think they were together for more than 6 weeks. Because it would make more sense. I'm sorry. You don't go have a fling for 6 weeks, and then your family comes home and you decide to kill them. It does not happen. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but honestly, I really don't know what his role was. But when Chris said in the interrogation room, my hands are clean, I think that was another truth. I think his hands are clean, but he is still guilty because he was involved in the planning, even if it was just listening to it. He was involved in all that stuff. He watched everything happen. He was right there. It's like guilt by association. If my son's with a group of kids and one of them decides to rob a freaking convenience store and they call the cops, my son's going down too, even though he didn't do it. And I'm telling you because I've heard a lot about there's like dark entities or dark things in the Watts house now. Because when when there was the break-in at the Watts house and the cops showed up, it was at night. Stop it now! Because the garage light was on. And as soon as the cops showed up and everything, the light went off. I think, and that was NK. And I do think she knew the code. Because every time she was asked a direct question, she was quick to answer no. Bella, stop it. Bella, stop. Bella, stop it. But, no, sorry, I lose track of what I'm saying when I get sidetracked. I don't know. I just think NK needs to be looked at. I think she needs to have a polygraph done. I think she needs to have a more in-depth interrogation, not with a male, with a female. Because, I mean, either that detective was just playing along, or she played him like a fiddle, one or the other. I mean, it got so bad where she was texting him so much that he was taken off the case. That's how bad it was. So, I think she should have been interrogated by a female, personally. Because if you look at her in the interview when she's talking to Kobach, she's all whimpery and soft-spoken and everything like that. And of course, she has layers of clothes on, even though it's like 90 degrees, but she was probably covering out scratches, which makes sense. And there's no scratches on Chris, so that leads me to believe that I don't think he did kill his wife or kids. I mean, he's where he belongs, but I don't think he killed them. But, no, she's just all, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And then as soon as they bring in a female psychiatrist, she's like, yeah. It's like she don't care to talk to him. So obviously she's not that traumatized. I mean, come on. You can see it if you look at, oh my God, I wish I knew how to do this. Well, I'm making this live. Can anybody give me a tip on how to share my screen? Because I don't know how to do it. But no, since I don't know how to share my screen, basically, she's one way with Kobach, and she's a completely different way with this female psychiatrist. And it's like she has no interest. She don't want to talk to her. She basically just wants her to get out of the damn room. I mean, you can hear it in her voice. And she's just uninterested. Like, it doesn't faze her. And then the woman leaves, and she goes right back to her other mode of being all whimpery and everything like that. Like, it's ridiculous. It really is. It's like, there's so many clues. These are supposed to be, like, really smart detectives. Like, seriously? How many clues have to go past you before you freaking do something? I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't condone cheating. But usually, when you cheat on somebody, don't you usually go for somebody better, not worse? For one, apparently he made a really big mistake getting into a relationship with NK. I mean, according to him, she was. I mean, he didn't say these words, but what he was basically saying is she's a freaking psycho witch person, basically. Because she has all these stones and she does all these rituals, and the sand dunes that they went to when they actually went camping, it was a nude. It was a nude. Hold on one second. That's it. Shut the. You. Sorry, my dogs bark for no reason. But no, people really need to look at the clues. Actually look at the clues. Because they're not. And they've missed so much. Like, I've seen documents on murders, and they are thousands upon thousands of pages long for one case. And it was like 2,000 pages for Chris. That's like the shortest freaking document I think I've ever seen in my life. But it's like, what the hell are they really doing? I mean, yeah, they got one person, but what about the rest? Or do they just get a free pass? Or was that the sacrifice that Chris made? Oh, I'll spend the rest of my life in jail if you just let the other people go. Because that's basically what he said in his interrogation. I mean, he basically said, oh, I want to leave her out of it. You know, I don't want to bring her into it. Stuff like that. And then you hear the cop say, oh, well, I don't think she was involved in anything like that. And oh my God. That part just enraged me because it was like, really? I mean, seriously, you haven't formally interviewed this woman, you haven't given her a polygraph, nothing like that. And you're saying she's not involved? I mean, everybody who was close to the case was getting interviewed. So why? She was the mistress and she was acting sketchy. She was, I don't know. I can't explain how she was acting, but it was basically like she was acting like she was guilty. And I don't know. I really don't. I don't know much more to say about this case because, like I said, I don't feel like it's ever going to be solved. Chris is never going to come clean. But then again, like I said, with the drinks that she was giving him for God knows how long, it could have been longer than 6 weeks. Oh, no, I believe it's 6 weeks because that's when Shanann said that Chris started changing and acting different. So that could have been a reason for it. Nobody knows what was in his system. He was never drug tested. He was never given a psychological test. Nothing like that when you go into jail. Like it's normal stuff that they do, and that stuff wasn't done. Basically, the only thing that was done was death threats and them slipping him razors underneath his jail cell, telling him to kill himself. And like nobody's like, everybody's looking at Chris. It's like nobody wants to be bothered with the accomplices because there were more people there. Like, I'm sorry, Chris just has this thing about him where I don't think he'd be capable of wrapping his hands around his wife's neck and choking the life out of her. I don't see that. I'm not saying he's not guilty. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I think that he was kind of out of the loop with most of it because he was freaking apparently out of it a lot of times. And I don't know. It's just like nothing adds up because the original story and everything was that he put the 3 bodies in the truck, drove to work, buried Shanann, killed the kids, dumped them in the tanks. But he was calling the school. He was sending text messages. He was on the phone with people for like an hour before people started showing up, other coworkers. So when did he have time to, do the burying? He didn't. He didn't have time to do the burying. I mean, I don't even think he knew where his wife and kids were at that time. I think the only thing he knew is that they were taken out the back. I mean, he kind of made that abundantly clear in his interview. Like, oh yeah, there's no cameras back there. She could have been taken out the back, Yeah, Chris, yeah, she probably was. I mean, it's just. And another thing, that eye mask, that female eye mask that they found on the bed downstairs in the basement, pretty sure that was in case. Because Chris never mentions that Shanann wore an eye mask. The only thing he ever said was she would always take her makeup off before she went to bed. That was it. And I think that, I don't know if she was in there 2 times or more than 2 times. I don't know. Maybe I do kind of believe that she was only there a couple times because, I mean, why would they risk getting caught because of the Ring camera? I mean, start shutting that off all the time, somebody's going to get suspicious. So that's why it was only turned off the night of the murder. And I think he put something over the Ring camera in the front door because somebody had to go out the front door to get to the red car. So, I mean, if you don't want somebody to get caught, And honestly, if that one tree that everybody hates, that's literally right between Nate's and Chris's property, oh, I wish that tree wasn't there. It would have probably shown so much more because, okay, there are three vehicles, and this all happened in seconds. You see Chris's headlights on. So he's in the truck, obviously. And then you see, I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm going to say it. And you see NK walking out. She's going to her truck because she's got to move her truck up because she's parked behind Chris. So they wait for Betty to leave. Literally, as soon as she turns left, you see the right car go straight because it's literally parked in that little section of like gravel between the Watts house and Betty's house. There's like this little patch, and I think that's where the car was parked. And Betty wouldn't be able to see the car from her house, not the way her house was built. So the right car goes, and then you see Chris pull up, back up, and then NK pulls up. I mean, you don't see that, but somebody is in Chris's truck with him because you see the dome light keep going on and off when Chris isn't even near the truck. So somebody is in that truck. Pretty sure I know who it is. Think it was NK. Because it would kind of make sense. I mean, there was a lighter, and now I don't know if she smoked cigarettes. I don't know if she just carried a lighter. I don't know, but we all know Chris didn't smoke cigarettes. We all know Shanann didn't smoke cigarettes. Shanann didn't even ride in Chris's truck. But there was a lighter in the passenger side door. And it wasn't Chris's. And it wasn't checked for fingerprints. If it was checked for fingerprints, I'm sure they would have probably found out that it was probably NK's. But I don't know. And I still want to know what Chris took out of that car, out of Shanann's car, when he first got to the house and opened the garage door and went straight to the car. Like, and then he didn't even shut the door. He just grabbed whatever he was grabbing and he ran inside and let the door shut behind him. And then it was like almost 2 minutes before he let the cops in. So, you know, everybody asked him, they're like, stop it. Everybody asked him, they're like, you know, I just lost my train of thought again. I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Chris, I don't know. I think he said, I think Chris said what he was basically told to say. And I do think that internet sleuths are right about that. Like, I don't think Chris could do anything on his own. He had to be told to do it. And it was usually from females. And he probably learned that from his mom. Because, I'm sorry, but Shanann couldn't have been so bad that Chris's mom hated her guts. Like, seriously. I'm sorry, but me and my husband have had family drama, and that does not stop us from getting together. Like, family's family. It's like, grow up. And it's just sad because his family wasn't at their wedding. And I just don't see Shanann doing something so terrible that, Cindy would hate her so much. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, from what I know, she barely knew Shanann. I mean, she didn't want to get to know her. And I've watched Shanann's videos, and everybody says, she was controlling, she was this, she was that. Like, she was always showing off her kids. You know what? If I was doing Thrive like her and I was sharing everything every day, I'd be including my kids too. But no, I guess that makes her a bad parent. And I guess having OCD makes you a bad parent too. I don't know. Like, all I know is that she didn't deserve what happened to her. And those two little girls, I can't even wrap my head around it. I really can't. But I'm telling you that family, Chris and Shanann, was targeted. I'm telling you. They were definitely targeted. Because literally, I think she purposely got a job there because, her daddy has connections. So he probably got her in there. And then she got with Chris. And they met at the gym, but like I said, in her interview, she says that they started dating in June, but she don't give the year. And I think they started dating June of 2017. Because that would make more sense. Because she was looking them up on Facebook in 2017. So either they weren't together yet, and like she was just getting to know her target, basically, or they were together for a whole year and nobody knew about it. It's one or the other. Because you can't change data like that. You can, but like it was actual real-time data. Like she was searching their names in 2017. And that's why I said that the family was targeted. And I don't know if it was just a random thing or I don't know. There's so many unanswered questions. It's unreal about this case. It really is. For the one person who's watching, can you tell me how to share my screen? Because I have no idea how to do it. But, no, I don't know. I don't think that they died on Monday. I do think Shanann was buried on Wednesday, but I don't think she died on Monday. I think maybe she died on Tuesday. I'm not for sure. The girls, I'm not sure of either. It was just, I can't imagine, with the firefighters and, EMTs, what they saw that day when they pulled those little girls out of the tanks. I was a volunteer firefighter and a first responder for many years. And I don't think, my first fatality, my mother told me it would either make me or break me. And it didn't break me, but I'm pretty sure if I saw something like that, it would. So that probably traumatized them, guys. And I feel for them. I really do, because that is one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to have to recover two little girls that are basically still toddlers. It's sad. It really is. And this whole case is unjust. There's no justice. Families are still suffering. You have one family that thinks that, yeah, maybe NK was involved, and then you got another family saying that they think that Chris did this all on his own. But I don't know, with all of the data, with all the evidence and everything like that, they found blue gloves like you would see at a hospital. Chris wouldn't need to wear gloves. He lives there. His prints are everywhere. So only somebody else would be wearing gloves so they didn't leave the prints. Come on. It is common sense. She literally gave him up to the cops. Pretty much. Basically saying, oh yeah, he FaceTimed me for like a minute and he was laying on a bed that had no sheets on it. And I asked him why there were no sheets, and he said, oh, they're in the washer, they smelled. That makes no freaking sense, because they weren't. I don't think anybody died in the house. I really don't. And that kind of contradicts what I said about the girls being killed before Shanann. And that could possibly be, but it wasn't done at the house. Like, there was no whatever, dog smell or whatever of death or blood. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that would lead them in the direction that house was a murder house. Nothing. They were taken out of that house. They weren't killed in that house. And like the one internet sleuth, AD, him and his team sent multiple messages to the DA when he found the shadow of somebody walking towards Chris and him picking it up and putting it in the truck. And then the DA turned around and said he was wrong. And that's when they sent the detectives to Wisconsin to get another confession that wasn't the truth. He's sitting there and he's saying, on the drive to work, I was sitting there thinking how I could save my girls. Well, you're saying you got them in the truck with you, Chris, and you're asking how you can save them. I don't get it. Was he threatened? Was he threatened to do this? Was he pushed into this? I mean, was he told, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill your mother, your father, your family? I mean, to kill your own flesh and blood, it's unfathomable. I mean, I get frustrated with my kids, but they're teenagers. So, of course, they think they know more than me. But I keep reminding them that I used to be their age. But no, I definitely think that NK was involved. She was basically given a free pass. That's what I think. But that's just my opinion. I mean, opinions can either matter or they cannot matter, but that's just my opinion that NK was involved. It has nothing to do with, other sleuths videos or whatever. I've always thought that NK was involved. But I've also thought that that family was targeted. And I think Chris was targeted. I think it was a whole, maybe she was dressing provocatively when she went to work to get his attention. But I don't know how, but we do know that he was going to a gym. And she went to a gym. So maybe that's where they met. I don't know. But she got her claws into him. And she did not let go till the very end. And then she ended up basically screwing him because she knew she's not stupid. She's smart. I mean, she had a backup plan. Chris didn't know it, but she had a backup plan if this all blew up. That it would all be on Chris. And that she would say she had nothing to do with it. She had no knowledge of it. She didn't know she was pregnant. But yet she's sitting there saying that Dieter took her on a tour of the house. And she's saying that she went into every room but their bedroom. I don't believe that. She's nosy as hell. She is like one of those people you can tell are nosy as hell. And I can almost guarantee she went in that bedroom. Because there was a picture and a frame of the ultrasound. There's no way she could have missed it. You can literally see it when on the police video camera. Sorry. 1 second. Get off right now. Don't even start. Nobody here. But I do feel that NK needs to be looked at further. And I don't know, maybe Chris needs some hypnotist to come in and do some, I don't know, some kind of voodoo on him to make him tell the actual truth of what happened. Because, like I said, I don't think that he knows really what happened. I mean, she wanted to know everything, NK. She wanted to know everything he was saying to the cops, to the media, everything. So this burner phone, I'm telling you, he would keep in his pocket, and I swear to God, like he kept it on speaker, and so she could hear everything. Like, she did not want Chris messing up on his script that he was given to say. Because I'm sorry, that was scripted. That wasn't something that was just pulled out of thin air. It was scripted. It was planned. I mean, he knew it was going to happen, and for some odd reason, he couldn't or didn't stop it. One or the other. But I just don't know how you can watch your two kids get smothered. And that's another thing. He didn't know if his kids were strangled or smothered. First, he said they were strangled. Then he said they were smothered with a blanket. There were no fibers in their mouths. So they weren't smothered with a blanket. I'm pretty sure they were smothered with a pillow. And honestly, when they were gathering evidence, or what they thought was evidence, when they were in the girls' rooms, you know, you're supposed to put stuff in separate bags. And they were just putting all the bedding into one bag. Like the comforter, the sheets, the pillows, everything. Like, were any of those pillows checked for DNA? Because if you're smothering somebody, you know, they're going to be fighting you, so there's going to be DNA that's going to, you know, be on the pillow from the smothering. So were the pillows checked? Because I doubt it. And what the hell, like, what I want to know is, where were they taken after they were taken out of the house? How were they taken out of the house? Were they, like I said, were they drugged? Were they given chloroform? Like, I know Chris said that, because in the letters from Christopher, he admitted that he gave Shanann, like, she didn't know it, but he crushed up Oxy and put it in her drink. So he was trying to kill the baby because he didn't want the baby. And Shanann didn't start freaking out until Chris said, "I don't want this baby." Because, I mean, she was confused. She was hormonal, confused. I mean, she's probably thinking, "What are you talking about? This is what you wanted, and now you're saying you don't?" Like, that freaked me out too. And it's just crazy. And I think she knew that something was off. She definitely knew something was off. She knew that he was having an affair, but I think she knew that something else was going on. And I think that is why she changed the code to her phone. Because they both had the same code to get to their phones. So, why would she change hers and not even tell Chris? Well, there's a reason for that. She probably didn't want him to know everything that she was, she was talking to her friends about everything that was going on. Like, every phone call or text or anything that was going on between Shanann and Chris, Shanann was telling her friends. Because she needed support. And she didn't want Chris seeing what she was sending her friends and everything like that. So that morning, when Shanann's mom was like, oh yeah, she changed the pin to the baby's due date. And as soon as it unlocks, Chris is looking at all these texts that she has sent. And he's probably thinking, great, now I gotta tell them that I'm having marital problems and this and that. And so, yeah. I mean, Chris was definitely caught off guard. I mean, they literally did not plan this well. They really didn't. Because Chris had no idea that Shanann had a doctor's appointment the next day. And he knew that she always posted in the mornings when she got up, after she got ready and everything. So why in the world would he think that nobody would come and check on her after not hearing from her? And it was Nicole, her best friend, and I'm just gonna call her NA because I have a hard time pronouncing her last name, but she was really the hero of that story. I mean, I know she probably doesn't want to be called that, but I truly believe she is, because if she wouldn't have shown up there and gone to the doctor's office and, literally begged Chris to come back, called the cops, everything like that, like, if none of that would have happened, who knows what? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Chris would have got away with it along with the other people. I mean, why not? Everybody else got to freaking walk away with not even a slap on the wrist. I mean, how can people get away with murder? I don't understand that. I don't understand how people can get away with murder. I really don't. And for Chris to take all the blame, it's stupid. I mean, it's honestly stupid. Why would you take all the blame? Stop it. But he was definitely scared. And I'm pretty sure he was scared of her. Like, because like I said, he said that there was a lot of dark things that happened in her apartment when he was there that he'll never tell anybody, that he'll take to the grave with him. So it had to have been bad if he doesn't even want to talk about it. It must scare him to the point where he can't even put it into words what happened in her apartment. And I don't know. So many things don't add up. I mean, honestly, you got Chris coming in a t-shirt, no scratch marks. I mean, he got photographed. His whole body got photographed. There's no scratches or anything. And then you got NK coming in for an interview, and she's all freaking bundled up like it's in the 50s when it was like, I think in the 90s that day. and she's all freaking bundled up with her arms covered up and everything like that. So why does she got to cover herself up? I don't know. Maybe because she's got scratches on her. She's got 2 bald spots on her head. Somebody ripped hair out of her head. And you got to watch the video and actually look at her head. It's like right around here in the front. Yeah. There's a bigger bald spot and there's a little one. And somebody ripped her hair out. So, and she literally like went in the police station with her hair up, with that clearly showing. I mean, if that was me personally, I would leave my hair down and try to cover it. But no, she went right in there. Like, and the cop didn't even ask her, like, why do you got that bald spot in your head? Like, nothing like that was even talked about. It was just about her relationship with Chris. And she remembers everything except that 111-minute phone call. And it wasn't that serious, but yeah, she's looking up wedding dresses. And, you know, Chris obviously doesn't, I don't know, understand love or know how to love, or I don't know, but he's looking up, oh, when's the right time to tell somebody you love them? You feel it, for one, when you love somebody. I mean, if you gotta ask the internet, there's a problem there. And like that whole song, Battery, that he looked up the lyrics or whatever. I think that was like a sign, because he sent the lyrics to NK. And I think that was a sign, like, I can't kill family. I can't do it. Like, he's basically telling her, look, I can't do it. She's basically telling, yeah, well, you ain't got no choice. This is going to happen this way and everything like that. He was completely programmed that day. There's no doubt about it. It was like watching a robot. He was so distant with the cops. Literally, the only time he talked to that cop that was there first when he showed up, he only talked to him when he was answering questions. Like, other than that, he didn't talk to him. Not at all. It was awkward. You're watching this, and it's freaking awkward as hell. Because all you see is Chris going through Shanann's phone, and the cop ain't taking the phone. I mean, the phone should have been put in an evidence bag as soon as it was found. I mean, and 3 people touched it. You had Nicole's son who touched it because he found it. Then Nicole touched it. Then Chris touched it. So you got all this DNA on it. Like, that investigation was not done right. It was so screwed up. I've never seen an investigation like that. Ever. I mean, it was really bad. I mean, an investigation in a house that big. I mean, I know it's clean as hell, but shit, I'd be going over it with a fine-tooth comb. And they're in there for 2 hours, in and out. Boom. So, that's why this case that's why it just sticks in my head, because it was a poor investigation and there's more people involved. And the one accomplice, they let walk right out the door. Literally, walk right out the door. And when you see her walking out the door, it's the same exact way that the person coming out of the garage in the morning walked. So here's another clue for you that she was there. I mean, she messed up because she turned on her phone at 6 something in the morning to call Jim. And she was only on the phone for like a minute. And then she turned it back off. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And there were a lot of people involved. And 3 people suffered the consequences for that. 3 people that had no idea what was going on. None. They were clueless. I mean, yeah, maybe Shanann had a feeling, but I doubt it was a feeling of, oh my God, I'm going to walk into this house and die. I don't think it was anything like that, but I do know that she thought he was cheating. I mean, Chris tells the detectives in Wisconsin that on Saturday when he took NK out to the Lazy Dog, he used his and Shanann's bank card because he said that he didn't care anymore if she found out because he had already planned on telling her. Now, his plan, what he says the plan was separate, sell the house, eventually get a divorce, share custody of the kids, and everything like that. And I don't know, for some reason, I do believe that was the plan that he originally had in his head. But NK had a different plan. And he was sucked right into it. And I don't think it was voluntary either. I really don't. I mean, yeah, you can tell that he's not thrilled when she does that pregnancy announcement. I mean, you see him walk in and he's just standing there for like 30 seconds before he even says anything or walks towards her. And then he pretends like he's happy. Like, the hell? I mean, maybe he didn't want the kid. But I don't think he wanted to kill his family either. I think Bill was stupid. I truly believe that he just wanted to get a divorce. And for some reason still be with NK. I don't. She must have had, like, and I know it's going to sound really weird, but some type of spell over him. I mean, like I said, no one knows what was in those drinks except for NK. She knows what she put in those drinks, but nobody else does. And Chris was very naive, because I'm sorry, but if someone's making me drinks every night, and honestly, the first time I fell asleep during a conversation, I would be asking them, okay, what did you put in here? And he was very, very naive. when it came to NK. NK was another dominant female in his life. He's had a lot of dominant females in his life. First, it was his mother. Then Shanann, but not in like a bad way. She was the dominant person in a way where she wanted to make people better, like help them. And then you have NK. And she's some type of, I don't even know. I'm just gonna call her a witch because I don't know what to fucking call her. She's into these dark things and freaking putting shit in his drink. I can only call her a witch. But honestly, I really don't think this could have been avoided. And I just feel bad because, and I think the whole world does. I mean, you had a pregnant mother and her 2 little girls. And they were killed for no reason. No reason at all, except for any reason that NK had in her sick head. And I really don't think, because like I said, Chris has been around dominant females his entire life. He's been told what to do his entire life by dominant females. And he does it without education. And he's saying that he's scared of her and everything like that. So if she planned on killing his family, yeah, I can see the whole vision that Audrey had with him, crouched down in a corner while his family's being murdered. Like, yeah, I can see that because I don't think he can make decisions on his own. And I know he supposedly found God and everything, like being in jail. Like he even wrote a book with like one of his bunkies or whatever you call them. But honestly, like if he's so into God and if he's changed so much, why can't he tell us the truth still? I mean, does he honestly think that we believe the story he gave us to the world? The multiple stories that he gave us. I mean, he doesn't. I don't even know if he knows what the truth is. But if it is coming back to him, he needs to tell somebody what really happened and who all was involved. Because he's taken all the heat. He's going to die in there. He's taken all the heat for the murders, everything. He was scared into that plea deal. And I think he was forced into the plea deal to keep everybody else that was involved out of jail. Because he was dead set when he said, I did not kill my girls. I believe him when he said that. And then he takes a plea deal, basically admitting that he killed the girls. That makes no sense. He was forced into that plea deal. That's why his family couldn't talk to him about the plea deal. Because he would have probably got talked out of it. And not only that, but with a trial, you get subpoenaed, you gotta tell the truth, or else you're going to jail for perjury. So that could be a big reason why they wanted a plea deal. Basically to shut him up. I mean, literally, when the judge asked, is there anything that you want to say, Mr. Watts? Like, you can barely hear him. He's like, no. And, like, his leg is shaking the whole time. The DA is describing his daughter's injuries. And he is crying. And it's just, it's very hard. It's heartbreaking. It really is. Because he's either going to eventually tell us the truth. Maybe not. Maybe he's too scared. Maybe NK scared him to the point of no return. Like, if you ever mention this to anybody, like, I'll kill your family type thing. So, like, maybe he'll never say anything. Stupid. Stuff. But, I'm gonna get off here. But I just wanted to get on to, basically talk about the case and everything like that. Even if one person looks at this, you know, it would mean something. Because I think every video about the Watts case needs to be looked at and needs to be actually heard. But have a good night.